The mass shooting at the FedEx facility and the heartbreak that followed put the state's red flag law under the microscope. The gunman had a shotgun seized under that law 1 year before the tragedy.
And now only on WRTV, the Marion County prosecutor defends the decision that his office made involving the man that would later become the FedEx shooter. Following the mass shooting at the FedEx facility, many questions have been raised about the use of the state's red flag law. The 19-year-old suspect had an unrelated weapon seized under the law in March of 2020. The red flag law allows police to seize a weapon from a person dealing with a mental health crisis. In the past 2 years, Metro Police alone used the law 186 times to remove 337 weapons. Not all cases make it to a judge to determine whether the individual should temporarily lose their weapon and ability to buy another gun. But why not just take every case that comes in, every Metro officer that says, look, I took a weapon, I think there were 96 cases last year, and just say, let it go to the judge. Let the judge figure it out.
We're trying to help people, and we're trying to do what's best for people who are going through difficult situations, who are going through legitimate crisis. If we create a process where you call us, you absolutely have to come to court and you absolutely have to testify against that person, we're going to get fewer calls, which doesn't benefit our community and is going to result in more suicides.
The Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police has been critical of the prosecutor's office regarding how it handled the Brandon Hull case. Brandon had his shotgun taken away after his mother expressed concerns about his mental health. The NDFOP believes the prosecutor should have done more with the case.
Nothing within the statute prohibits a continuance, and the law does not prohibit the prosecutor from seeking to supplement the record if the court took the matter under advisement. So again, we ask the question, why didn't the prosecutor try? We call for answers and we call for accountability.
On the day that Brandon Hull's shotgun was placed in the IMPD property room, a police report on March the 3rd, 2020 says that he was taken to Eskenazi Hospital for an assessment. Due to federal privacy rules, the hospital can't discuss whether he was a patient or his treatment. In general terms, individuals placed on a so-called detention hold are evaluated by a mental health professional. Their history is reviewed, and a referral is made if necessary. The prosecutor says Brandon, who had no record of violence, was released in a matter of hours and allowed to return home. I'm not trying to spark a war of words between you and the FOP and the legislature, but the suggestion is that the office failed. That's the bottom line, right? That this office got a case, dropped the ball, and now we have this horrible thing. How do you perceive that? How do you take that?
Well, for us, there's no dropping the ball when you get a case and you evaluate the facts as they're presented to you and you make a decision, or there's a decision made based on the best information provided to our office. In this particular case, we had that conversation about propensity. We had a single isolated incident. We also didn't have any medication prescribed. There's a number of reasons that justify the decision that was made by the deputy prosecutor assigned in this case to evaluate this particular situation. It wasn't a failure. It was we didn't have enough information at that time. But the other part of it is they act like had a different decision would be made, this incident wouldn't have happened, which is totally incorrect and totally inaccurate. If you look at how easy it is to get a gun, I mean, it's easier to get a gun than it is to get a coronavirus vaccine here in Marion County. That shouldn't be the case.
The prosecutor says the law is really helpful in preventing suicides, but not in preventing gun sales. He believes that people whose weapons are seized during a mental health crisis should not be able to buy a weapon until a judge rules on the case, of course, at the very end. As it stands right now, a person can still buy a weapon during the process, which can take either weeks or months to resolve because people do have a right to challenge the state and police because they have due process rules. Of course, we'll keep following this story throughout the very end as we still have many questions to ask. Lauren?